Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us on A World Awakening. For those who don't know me, I'm Erin Bush. I am filling in for our resident queen of high strangeness. She has been traveling today on her way back from her mom's. So she asked me to step in and fill in for her so she didn't need to do a replay. So I'm super excited about tonight's show. I have two dear girlfriends of mine on, both Carrie Hopper and Laura Ockerman. These ladies run a History of a Haunting podcast. They're also both investigators, lots of experience between the two of them. And Carrie's going to be joining us a little bit later. She had an event that she's attending, and she's going to hop on when she gets freed up. So a little bit of backstory. When I first met Andrea last fall, I was given an opportunity to go out to Vegas for Para-Unity and work with Mysterious Adventures Tours. And when that started coming up, I had also been invited to go investigate Trans-Allegheny. And I was put into a group with a bunch of investigators. I was going to be going with Tony and Cherie Rathman and got to talking to everybody in the group. And Carrie Hopper was one of the first ones I really started talking with quite a bit. So Vegas, very expensive, especially to stay at the casino. And she popped in and said, "Hey, I know a guy at a hotel in Vegas. Let me see what I can do for you." And so she was able to get me a seriously good deal at a non-gaming hotel off the strip, which was great. And then about a month or two later, she had mentioned wanting to know if Andrea wanted to go to Trans-Allegheny with us if her schedule would allow. So at that point, realized that Carrie was a big fan, and I had been talking to Andrea, and Andrea did what Andrea does. And she's like, "Give me your number. I'm going to call her." I call it an Andrea sneak attack. And so those two got to talking. They hit it off. Andrea's been interviewed on their podcast. They did an episode on ufology together. And so we've all gotten to be good friends. And then Carrie and Laura were nice enough to create a commercial for my energy healing business, just because they're lovely people, which was really awesome. And so we've all just, stayed in contact, talked here and there. Last weekend, Andrea and Roger and I went up to Charlotte for the Con Carolinas event. And that was an all cons event. My first time, very interesting event, had a lot of fun. And Carrie was able to drive up about 2.5 hours where she lives in North Carolina to hang out. So the trip was awesome because we got to meet 5 people that I hadn't actually met in person. I'd only met them online. So we had Carrie, we had Donna, Connie, and then we also had Chris Allgood and Audra Keeler. So we all got to hang out, talk, go to dinner together, just really share good energy together, talk about stuff, share stories, ask advice, things like that. And it was my first time meeting Carrie face to face. So Laura actually lives in Arizona. So she's a couple hours behind us. And so I was really excited to get the opportunity to be able to bring them on with us to talk about their podcast. They're investigating. Hey, y'all. And just anything they wanted to discuss, because really at the end of the day, like Andrew always says, this is their show. And I know for me, I'm super excited. I've always been really, really fascinated by the historical side of all these different locations that people go and investigate, and the research end of it. As a former paralegal, research is kind of my thing. And so I'm also kind of intrigued to hear what all goes into the research side of an investigation when you're putting together a podcast or you're going on a location somewhere. So I'm really looking forward to getting to bring Miss Laura on whenever Bill's ready. And we'll get to pick her brain a little bit. Hey, Miss Laura.
Hi, Erin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for joining us.
Happy Friday. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I know, me too.
Right?
And us to get to hang out, talk a little bit more, and then Carrie will hop on when she's ready.
For sure.
So what I want to do is if you will kind of start off with us just giving... Now, I don't know if everybody read the bio. The bio is quite funny that you guys put out about how you met and how you got roped into all of this stuff. But I know you've got a background in this stuff anyway. So if you want to kind of give us the down low on how you got involved in the paranormal, how you and Carrie got involved together, and then also being involved with Southern entities down here in the South and the podcast.
Sure. Yes. Well, it all actually kind of goes together. So growing up, I lived in a really old house that my mom would tell me weird stuff would happen all the time. Now, I don't really remember because I was pretty little. But my family has always believed in the paranormal. I'm more on the skeptic side. So I was like, okay, you know, whatever. I never really thought about it too much.
Sure.
I was never scared or, you know, nothing bad ever happened. And then later, you know, I watched Taps and all that kind of stuff. Like a lot of people just kind of, you know, watch the shows. They're really entertaining. They catch some really interesting stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was a lot of my introduction to actual investigating. Was a lot of it was TV.
Me too.
Yeah. And then I met Carrie at work. And this was years ago before she even got into investigating.
Right.
We met and just like you, fast friends, right? It's very easy to have a connection with Carrie. She's lovely and hilarious and just warm and welcoming. She's great. So we remained friends. I moved out of state for a while. While I was gone, she started History of a Haunting with her friend Archie.
Right.
So, and they had been doing it for, I'd say, almost a year by the time I moved back. Carrie invited me to a fans investigation they were doing down at Phelps Hospital with Tony and Sheree. Mm-hmm. So I went to that, had a really good time picking on them and just giving them a general hard time. And so, yeah, we had a great investigation. It was a lot of fun. It was my first, like, you know, real investigation.
Right.
And then Carrie enjoyed, you know, me giving them a hard time so much that she invited me to come kind of sit in on the podcast.
Okay.
And just kind of give my 2 cents as a skeptic, make jokes a lot, and then, you know, really just kind of hang out.
Right.
And it was great. It was a lot of fun. Archie was at that time doing the history. Archie ended up needing to leave the show because he needed more time for, you know, work and stuff like that. So I stepped in to do the history and have kind of been flying by the seat of my pants the whole time, learning as I go.
Best way to do it. Same.
Yeah. I mean, you
trial by fire. Let's do this. You know,
Carrie has, wrote me in, just gone right into the deep end, investigating. I mean, just amazing places like the Stanley Hotel, Drum Grand, the 1910 jail out here, you know, Trans-Allegheny, the old, you know, these basically like dream investigation places. So, yes.
Given a gift.
So you got your gift bag.
I did.
Oh, so good. Good.
You guys have gone and investigated some seriously crazy places, and I was bummed I didn't get to go to Tala, but with the drive and gas prices, I just couldn't quite swing it.
Yeah.
But I've always been you guys, having listened to the podcast now, a lot of them, I love it because one, and you and I've talked about this before, it's really just like listening to y'all having a conversation together. But your history is so in depth. Like I listened to the recast of Tala's like just the depth to which you guys go to get your history and your facts straight. And I mean, my God, you could basically almost fill an entire podcast just with the historical facts that you guys are gathering.
I mean, I cut down obviously a lot. There's also a lot of stuff, unless you're super duper into like the facts and the figures of, you know, it was built this time, then they did, you know, it gets a little dry. So I try to make it interesting, obviously. You do. Well done. Keep it, you know, to where it's, you know, relevant to the paranormal and also, you know, gives you a good feeling of how it was, you know, when it, let's say, you know, Trans-Allegheny, how it was when it was running, you know, the things that happened there, that also lead obviously to the hauntings, how it impacts the town, you know, I mean, all of those things kind of come into play when you're talking about the history of location.
Now, how much time are you typically, and you're in a different state, you're in Arizona.
Yes.
You're not typically investigating in Arizona when you're investigating over here on the East Coast. So research purposes, I've never gotten the chance to just pick somebody's brain from a research standpoint. And I think a lot of people are interested from that side of it because, you know, whether you're watching TV or you're watching the investigations on live stream or the podcast or whatever, nobody really knows all that goes into having to ascertain all that information, like fact check it. Like, as a paralegal, I know mortgages, old deeds, land records, but that's about where it ends for me. If you were to send me somewhere on an investigation and say, go research this, I'd be like, does anybody have a checklist I can borrow? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot that goes into it.
There is. And luckily, we do some places that are very famous and some that aren't. So the available information, through the internet, it could be a treasure trove and it could be real thin on the ground. So sometimes it's, very easy to go through, Google and, go several pages deep, make sure you're using, obviously, good sources.
Right.
And, kind of cross-reference them, making sure that they all kind of match up. Right. And a lot of the places that do hold investigations, they have their own history online too. That'll give you kind of a synopsis. The stuff I really find interesting that can be a little bit harder to find is the human side of it. Like when you're trying to not just, we talk a lot about prisons, hospitals, asylums. There's so many of those, and you can only talk about so many prisons so much. It's sad. I mean, none of these places have great happy memories. I'm sure some, but they're not the happiest of places. So to kind of bring some levity, I like to talk about sometimes there's good stuff that comes out of it, or at least interesting. People that left the prison, went on to do amazing things. Of course, there's the true crime aspect, which is always a little bit fascinating too. Of how the people ended up there, what kind of people were there, those kind of things. And I like to talk about that. Even like with prisons, a lot of times back in the mid 1900s, they would, like a lot of prisons, especially those big ones that we talk about, they were a huge part of the community. And so there's one in particular, I remember the community would come watch the prisoners play baseball. And that was a huge thing for the town. Now, we can't imagine, taking our kids to go see a bunch of maximum security inmates play baseball on the weekend as the fun thing to do. Right. But this is, these are things that happen, which I personally find super interesting. And that prison that I'm talking about in particular, one of the prisoners ended up playing AAA ball afterwards. And that's the kind of stuff, that the human part of it that I find so entertaining to tell people about, because again, we can all look up when something was built and, the black and white of it, but it's the humanity that I try to bring into the podcast too, as well as, the historical, just nuts and bolts. Yeah.
Well, and you do a good job with that. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, because so much of this, and if you're coming from a more skeptical background, do you find that researching and having, I feel like if you're researching it and looking for those human stories, it also gives it a better way to connect when you are in an investigation. Like you have more than just the worst thing that someone's ever done that you're trying to connect with. You're coming, it makes it less space between us and them. If that makes sense. It just is a constant reminder that they were human. They're just in a different form now. So do you find as a skeptic that helps you when you're at a location investigating? Does it make it a little more easy to sort of have experiences, or, because you're not coming from it as in I want answers right this second. Like you understand the human side of it. Does that make sense? I kind of fumbled through that.
No. Yeah, absolutely. I do think that knowing the history of anything you're going to investigate is super important. One, you're going to know what happened there, where it happened, what kind of people were there. And then you also know unfortunately, a lot of the stories of the paranormal are because of the bad things that happened. So you will know what happened to those people, and hopefully it brings you empathy and understanding. So yes, you're not going to go in and be like, ghosts, come talk to me now, like
like a trick, like a one trick pony,
Right. Yeah. So,
and that gets old, I would assume, to them as well.
I'm sure, because I'm sure it happens a lot. Unfortunately, a lot of people are just as rude to the dead as they are to living. And
boy, isn't that the truth?
Yeah. So really, I think, bringing the empathy and compassion home, and really, like you said, realizing that these are people. Right. It can also be harder in some respects because so many terrible things happened, and it makes it really hit home sometimes, especially, for me being a mother, talk about bad things that like Trans-Allegheny, they did lobotomies on children.
Right.
And knowing that, and they had a picture up in one of the hallways of a child who was actually in midst of getting one. And he looked a lot like my 9-year-old son. And that feeling stayed with me the entire time, just like overwhelming, just wanting to save them, or feel, just sadness and, all of that goes with it, especially being a mom,
Well, when you come at it that way, I mean, I'm not a parent, but I think
anybody has that kind of empathy. Yeah.
Right. But you come at it from that angle, or you come in like from the more human side, I would imagine you can't help but leave a location like that somewhat changed because of your focus on bringing the human side of it. They're not just convicts that or patients in an asylum. There's a story to a lot of these people that I feel like is super important to bring to the table. And the fact that you guys do that, I think is really impressive, because that takes a lot of time too, because not every location is going to have so many records are lost, especially if it's an older place. It's harder, like you said, harder to track stuff down, and you're not on site a lot of the time. So you're not sitting in the town hall microfiching your brains out from, deep diving through maps and stuff. I mean, you're really having to really search for those stories. And I think that makes the way your podcast runs a bit different than a lot of others, because you're really focusing on that end of it. I mean, the amount of research that you two put into this is what sucks. I mean, the fact that you're both hilarious anyway, and you do give each other unmitigated, unending grief all of the time, and that's glorious.
100%. That is what our relationship is based on, is giving each other a hard time. 100%.
That's the best. But you do such a good balance of the two. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
On that. Yeah. So what's your most profound experience? Doesn't have to be scary or anything like that, but where you might have been like, there might be something to some of this,
Yeah. It was the first time was at the old hospital in College Hill. Carrie and we hadn't been in there very long. We had kind of done a tour, walked through the building, got familiar. Carrie and I were by ourselves, walking down, I think it was the second floor hallway. And actually we were doing a Facebook Live at the time. Okay. And all of a sudden I could hear ventilators. So, and clearly there's no ventilators. It's
no
abandoned.
Power, probably. Yeah.
Right. No power. Yeah. None of that. And I was like, can you hear that? And it unfortunately didn't really pick up on the Facebook Live, but she confirmed what she heard, and it was the same thing I heard. And it kind of stopped for a minute and then picked back up. And yeah, that was really not scary, just weird, like unexplainable. Yeah. We did go back to that room again later and just to see if we could hear it again. We didn't hear anything, just make sure it wasn't like, wind or somebody's air conditioner or something outside, Yeah. But yeah, that was really kind of put it out there for me that like, oh,
there's something to this.
Yeah,
stuff.
There is something a little bit to this. Yeah.
Well, I know, and Chris and Audra were in the Tala group were sharing that clip with the mallet and the scream. Oh, I think what's so sad about some of this stuff too, that when you're picking up all that energy and all I would assume a lot of that's just residual at this point. Right. It happens so often in the same place, but there's still so much, like you can feel the pain, you can feel the fear, you can feel, that just looping. Oh, now granted, if it's not an intelligent haunting, you're not as upset because there's not somebody trapped necessarily, that particular spirit, but you do wonder,
Absolutely. And that EVP that Chris captured, which is up online at Southern Entities Paranormal, but it is like you kind of hear a no and then 2 hits of a mallet, and then a scream, and it is so clear.
It's guttural, the scream.
Yeah. And it is, it's one of the most disturbing, and I mean, EVPs that I've ever heard, and one of the most compelling. I mean, it was captured in the right place. It is, absolutely clear, and there's no question what you're hearing. Someone in just absolute horrible pain in horror.
Yeah. Well,
And
and that's, I think, too, the thing that people have to remember. I think a lot of times people get caught up in the, the fear base. I want to be scared. I want to, it's like, but you still have to go in with that respect and reverence of what's already there, because you're going to leave at the end of the night, and they still got to deal with the fallout of everybody that's coming in and out of there all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm not scared.
No,
not at all. I think the things that I am scared of, bugs. And then the bats sometimes are a little bit intense at some of these locations because they're so abandoned. I was coming around a corner at Tala, and of course, it's very dark. I think we were kind of towards the basement. It was really dark down there. And I come around a corner and literally a bat flew right in front of my face. And I was like, whoa, okay. So yeah, that kind of stuff is probably the stuff that will freak me out the most. It's not. Yeah, it's not the ghosts or the paranormal that I'm afraid of. It's more just like running into a bat or creepy crawly.
Or one of your other teammates when you're not expecting a solid body there. We had a bad experience. We were down in Savannah for the haunted Savannah Paracon back in February, and we were at a place called the Davenport Museum, I think. And so they had us all like in the basement, kind of going over ground rules and splitting up groups and stuff like that. And they were talking about the bats. And then lo and behold, this bat is flying. I have never seen people freak out, hit the deck screaming. And Cindy Keza being Cindy, because she was like the guest investigator along with Andrea that night. She's just sitting with her phone. She's got it up like this, giggling, just filming the chaos as people are freaking out about the bat. But that would be enough, in the dark, that'd be enough to scare the hell out of me too. I might need new pants if that were the case.
Yeah. And I actually don't mind bats. I don't dislike them. They're actually cool. I think
when they're there.
Right. Exactly. It's when they come right in front of your face and you're in pitch black and you only see them because they cross right in front of your face in your flashlight. It's a little bit alarming.
I can only imagine. I haven't done, Tala was supposed to be my first actual investigations. I've done a couple of these, these events where you go, with the celebrity investigators, but that's, as a sensitive, that's hard for me to do. I can't really connect. So I was really looking forward to getting to do that because y'all had such a big group for that. I mean, there were 20 people at that event,
20
I think.
people, yeah.
And everybody was serious investigators. And then you had sensitives too.
Yep.
You had Julie and Chris.
Spirit photographer, Chris.
That's like a whole thing.
Yeah, it really was. There was so many different styles, and people would meet up, and there would be something going on, and everybody would kind of come at it in their own way, and that was really interesting for me to watch because there were some people there who have been investigating for 20 years, to really see how they operate. Because I am still, pretty new to the game considering the depth of knowledge that we had at Tala. Yeah, so I was just there soaking it in, and it was really interesting to watch. And I loved all the people that went. They were all very empathetic, good investigators where they're really trying to connect. They're really respectful and
love the spirit.
It was really enjoyable. But yeah, Tala was a lot of fun. We had a good time. Carrie, actually, one of the first things that happened there, we're going on a tour. So they can show us around a little bit of some hot spots. So our tour guide's leading. I'm kind of behind. And Carrie's teasing me because I have a tendency to just walk off. Like I'll see, I want to go see what's over here. I've
heard about this.
Yeah. So she teases me all the time. Like she's like, so she was laughing because of course I'm off wandering around. I just got to see what's around. I see like a little weird hallway. I want to see
I want
to see where it goes. So she makes a joke as I'm getting back to the end of the line in the group. And she goes, I'm going to have to put a bell on you. She's like, where's Laura? Where's Laura? I'm going to have to put a bell on her. Literally, as soon as she said that, we heard a bell.
Stop it.
No, me. It wasn't just me. It was the guy in front of me, Zach, from Piedmont Paranormal.
What?
I looked at him. I'm like, did you just hear that? And we're in a stone stairwell. There's nothing, no bells rattling around.
No.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Actually, it was funny because we were at Con Carolinas and we were standing at the tables and this woman walks by. I don't remember who she was dressed up as, but she had a belt of bells. And Laura and Carrie's like, well, I need to find that woman. We need to get one of those to put it on Laura for the investigations. She's like, I think just about every single bit of tape, you could probably hear me going, where's Laura? Has anybody seen Laura? Where's Laura? You're braver than I would be.
Again, I'm not afraid of the paranormal. And as a person, like I'm very, like you said, the historical part of it, I love seeing these old buildings.
Yeah.
This is like a complete treat for me to go. I would go just to wander around, honestly, not even investigate, just to be able to see what they look like in real life. And, the scale, especially Tala. I mean, it's a city block. It's huge. And you know this like in your mind when you go, and then you pull up and it's just like, oh, wow, it's even bigger than you can conceptualize. And, foreboding, and it has just, the architecture and the grounds. And they do have a lot of places in Tala that have been restored. And it's really interesting to see how it was, back in the day when people were living there, being treated there. So all of that stuff, I'm 100% interested in, even just that part. So I want to see it all. Fair. I'm wandering around. Yeah.
You need like a clapper so they can clap and, you ding somewhere else in the building.
And basically like a little buzzer. She can summon me. She'd never let me take it off. She'd be doing
No, probably not. She'd have it on you all the time, Well, I think it's one of those things for me. The fear of the spirits isn't what gets me. It's just as a sensitive, the energetic overwhelm, just how do you know for sure you've grounded enough? It's not even so much concern of, am I going to be psychically it's not even any of that. It's just energetically, you're dealing with a lot of people who weren't in their right mind necessarily. Now, we don't know for sure if they're, in a better state of mind when they get over there, or if they still kind of stay the same. Mm-hmm. But if you're in 242,000 square feet or something like that,
crazy.
I think tall is.
Yeah, it's huge.
Just my concern would be, am I energetically protected enough to not have to be peeled up off the floor for 3 days after the fact? You know what I mean? Just because I feel like with sensitives, a lot of us, we almost like glow differently a little bit to them. And so, you tend to be kind of a focal point, and they're kind of, looking for you, but you want to make sure that you're, for something like me, it would be, am I grounded enough? Am I protected enough? Am I open enough to be able to, get the information that they're trying to give me, but am I getting it correctly? Because of the history of some of the patients that they had there. But I guess it's just a risk you have to jump off the deep end to figure that out. That's why I was looking forward to going, was to really get to walk the property with Chris and Julie, just to be around other sensitives that have much, much vaster experience than I do, and I think you guys get such a good balance. I mean, you had so many investigators that are using equipment. So like you said, everybody has their own way of working. So I'm assuming everybody also has their own specific kind of equipment they prefer to work with and how they work with them and that kind of thing. Absolutely. So do you have a specific piece of equipment that you really like? Or have you started kind of balancing the equipment with what your spidey senses sort of pick up when you're there?
Absolutely. So again, it kind of ties into me wandering off. Like if I feel like I need to go this way, I go this way. Mm-hmm. So I kind of just let however I feel in that moment, kind of let me be led around by that. If I feel like I'm drawn to this back area over here, I'll go over there. And when I can, I'll go with no lights and just try to be present in the feeling of it. And, I try to record as much as possible because obviously you get the EVPs and the video is not so great, obviously, when you're walking around in the dark. Right. It doesn't always come out so clear.
Right. Not so much.
Right. Yeah. But I'm still, I like the REM pod is really cool if you're kind of, sitting in one area and seeing if it'll get set off. We've had some really cool things happen with that, just kind of setting it out in our hotel room in the Stanley.
Right.
I'm trying to take a nap. Carrie goes to take a shower. I'm lying on the bed and she had set it out and it keeps going off. And then Carrie would be like, we got it. Can you stop now? Stops. I'm like, I'm trying to take a nap. Now they want to be talkative since I'm trying to sleep.
It's one of those things where you're like, listen, I know that you know that I know that you're here, but I need nap time. Can we deal with this later?
Right, exactly. As soon as we would say like, okay, we got it, we know, all right. They would, let it go. So stuff like that can be really like a cool focal point for them that doesn't even have to be you, right? That you can kind of leave a bit away from you and let them decide that they want to go to it.
Right.
Which I like that idea as well. We've been getting into doing the Estes method with the spirit box, which I do not love. I have not been brave enough. There you go. There's one thing that I am a little bit scared to do is I don't like the sensory deprivation. It feels like, I don't know. I think to me, it feels like it might be a little bit claustrophobic, especially if you're hearing a lot of stuff come through.
Sure.
So I've been a little bit chicken to do that, but we've had some really, really interesting sessions with that. Getting some really, really good answers coming through in different places too. Actually, we had a really good one in the Stanley last time we were there, and then in Tala there was a couple good times there as well. And that is very interesting because the one person obviously that's listening, the only person that can hear the spirit box, for anybody that doesn't know, can only hear that and is blindfolded. So they have no idea what questions are being asked or what the rest of the group is doing. And then whatever they hear, they just kind of shout out.
Yeah. It's a fascinating method.
It really is. And I think as a skeptic, I like the idea that they're kind of blind to what is happening. So they can't, kind of guess what's going on. So when you start to get relevant answers, that that's what's coming out.
Yeah. I've seen that. I only saw that once, and that was at Strange Escapes last year. We were at the St. Augustine Lighthouse. And so we were upstairs in the keeper's house with Adam Berry, and then the other group was downstairs in the basement with Amy. And so she had the blindfold on, and so he was asking questions over the walkie. So of course she couldn't hear. And like you said, when you start getting relevant information and you're 2 floors apart, crazy. There has to be some credence to that. Like we kept asking about the St. Augustine Lighthouse is an amazing place. Definitely haunted. I'm there a lot. It's up the street. But there's something about the land I don't personally like. It creeps me out. Not sure what it is. And every time we would ask about the land, we kept getting a F-bomb. It's like, oh, wow. Fuck you. Anytime that we would ask about the land, so you're getting things that we didn't get any information more than that, but it was clearly like a sore spot. So like you said, when you start getting corroborating evidence and the 2 people that are, the person who's under the sensory deprivation literally has no idea what's going on around them. Right. I mean, that's got to be the best way to capture evidence from an audio perspective with no contamination that you can live stream and show people like, hey, listen. Right. This happened. This is what's happening, Yeah. And if you watch them back, and Carrie can speak to, I wasn't at St. Albans, but I know that they had a particularly interesting SD session there that kind of left everybody like, okay, it's time to go. Like it was really intense. And that, I mean, that happens when it's on and you're getting that communication. It can be really intense, because it is relevant, like I said, and you're getting intelligent answers, and I mean, it's a little bit overwhelming sometimes. I would imagine. And I find that it's very like it's either on or it's off. There's no, in between. It's either bobblegook or you're getting good stuff. So it's not something that works every time or anything like that. It just when it is on, it is amazing the kind of stuff that they'll be able to give you the information. I mean, how long do you guys have a time limit that you keep people under for those sessions, or you just kind of feel it out when either the communication will die out or you feel like the person under the headphones and the whole sensory deprivation thing has sort of had enough? Are you guys sort of able to tell at that point when it's time to pull somebody out? Yeah, that's a weird question, but no, yeah. And people obviously being deprived like that, some people will get restless, I think, before others. I think there are people that are better at it, I think, than others and can handle and kind of channel into it and, relax into it.
than, maybe somebody like me who's, a little bit intimidated by being deprived like that. And so maybe I'm not the best fit. I think that there are people who are better than others and can kind of almost like being sensitive to it, right? Like being ready to accept it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think if they start to push off, then I think the communication will dies off naturally anyway.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, being able to kind of know where your limits are with stuff too is important as an investigator. I mean, if you're not comfortable with something, that's certainly not the kind of energetic vibe you want to bring to something, right? Like if you're trying to, especially if it's a place like a St. Albans or, something that has a really dark, painful, nasty history to it. I mean,
exactly.
There's no shortage of those places here, but I would think as an investigator, it's really important to know what your limits are, right? Like you said, you don't want to be jumping into an Estes method if you're not comfortable going there, because fear is not what you want to lead.
No, and I think that's true of any investigation. If you start to feel off or unwell, and I've seen this happen to people who, were particularly sensitive and felt unwelcome, like attacked. Just, a lot of people will start to feel physically ill, like headaches, stomach, dizzy, like lightheaded, like they're going to pass out. And so I've seen people have to leave spaces, and I've seen people have to leave investigations.
Sure.
And I think that is good that people honor their own feelings too. I think it's important not to push through those things. If you feel like you need to take a break or even take the rest of the night, I think you have to honor how you feel. And as a sensitive, I know that you'll understand that you can't. It's not something you want to push through. No.
Well, because you pay for it later. I mean, I think I'm still learning. We're doing an event in St. Augustine next year, and I want to. Of course, everybody wants to do the lighthouse, which I get. Place is amazing, but everybody's done the jail. Jail's the one place in St. Augustine I will not walk back into. It's like energetically can't handle this. Too overwhelmingly sad and horrible. But there's a couple places that have, there's a lot of places that just haven't been. They have investigations, but not where you're having an event come down, right? So I said, well, can we look? Let me find a place that's kind of a little more off the radar for your normal investigations. That's outside of the big ones that everybody goes to. And so I'm an idiot. So I set up the site visit to go check this place out. It's called the Jimenez Facio House. It's built in the 1700s, very lengthy history, beautiful location. And I was like, oh, well, I'll just go down there. I'll meet, was meeting them at like 10 a.m. to go walk this place. I forgot to ground at all. And I didn't do any protection for myself because my stupid ass is like, oh, it's 10 a.m. And it's not that it's it's fine. It's 10 a.m. No problem.
Ghosts only come out at night.
They only come out at night when it's dark, right? So I get in there and it's not a scary location at all. It's a beautiful location. It's just got a lot of really heavy history. And their attic space, they opened up, I think about a year ago, 18 months ago, which is where the slaves were living at the time. So they've just opened that space up. And then they started doing kind of a live reenactment called We Lived Here Too, that really focused on the African Americans that lived and worked on that particular property. So they take me to the attic. I'd already gotten a couple of weird things in a couple of the rooms downstairs, and I'm still sort of learning too. So I just kind of regurgitate what I get and see if anybody can validate it for me. So I got a couple hits there. But then we get in the attic and it's very crowded. And there's only 3 of us living, breathing people upstairs. But it was interesting because I would have expected a much more angry response given where we were in the space and that they're sort of new to having people in their space. But it was interesting because you could almost feel them standing around, like arms crossed, kind of looking down, like not really hating it, but still being like, okay, we're still trying to figure out what this means.
Right.
And it wasn't necessarily unwelcoming. It felt unsure for them, So I just obviously always thank them for allowing me in their space and that kind of thing. Leave. And I was on the floor for 3 days. I was completely fried. Wow. And I'm thinking, okay, 10 a.m. Definitely still need to ground and protect because you're not thinking about that at 10 o'clock in the morning. You're just going on a site visit. You're not even investigating anything, you know? So it was a really good lesson for me as an energetic sensitive to, doesn't matter what time of day it is.
Right. Yeah. We have to get the Scooby-Doo haunted house out of our mind, right? Like that kind of idea that everything haunted, you know, is like a nighttime thing, and it's going to look scary, and it's going to be, you know, again, like the cartoon version of what you think a haunted house is from being a kid. And that's not remotely true. I
agree.
All. And again, you'll get those feelings at any time of day. So yeah, you have to be aware, you know, and again, the places can be beautiful. It doesn't have to be a scary asylum or a prison or any of these places.
Right.
Yeah.
And St. Augustine's full of those. I mean, we have, you know, St. Augustine is, the problem in St. Augustine is there's so few places that will let you in to investigate. Right. So we have 3 Henry Flagler hotels, and they're literally right across the street. They're catty corner from each other. You can't investigate any of them. I lived in the first one, the Ponce de Leon, which is now the main, which is Flagler College now. And I lived there for 2 years. And that was probably some of my first experiences with paranormal in that kind of environment. We always had some kind of stuff happening at our house, but we always knew our grandparents were around. We'd hear footsteps and things like that. But where you're feeling watched, you're hearing noises, you know, electronics turning on and off, things flying across the room. I mean, it was wild to live in that environment, but they will not let you investigate. Like you have to, even if you're calling to set up an event, just to talk about event space, you have to lead with them saying, because as soon as you say Paracon or SpiritCon, like, they instantly think you're going to want to investigate. I'm like, no. We just want to use your space to have this event. We don't want, we know the rules. I know the rules, but there's so much untapped stuff down here. And I forget that sometimes. They are everywhere all the time. I mean, this city is not Europe old by any stretch, but several hundred years old. We've got all kinds of bloody history down here in St. Augustine. And yes, 10 in the morning, they will kick your ass energetically. So it was a lesson learned for me.
Yeah, I bet down there you probably can't throw a rock without hitting something.
True. Yeah. True. It's a beautiful place. I'm excited for them to come down. And you know, for the lighthouse is such a cool space to get to go see. I mean, there's a keeper. I try to get up there like once a week. I mean, ideally, if I was really into fitness, I'd go like 5 days a week. But let's be real. I'm not going to do that.
I mean, you know, we all have things to do.
Right. Like sit on my couch and watch TV. No. But I think I always see the same keeper just about every time I go in there. And he hangs out at the bottom of the stairs. And the first time I saw him, he's not a big guy. And I saw him, I turned around and he was, and so I kind of jumped, and the humans in the room with me were like, the hell just happened to you? And I was like, in my head, I'm going, okay, do I just say, oh, nothing, it's fine? Or do I, they're like, did you see something? And I'm like, do you really want me to answer that question appropriate? You know, so I was like, he's just the lighthouse keeper. He's here. You know, he just checks out the scene. I go into the keeper's house to walk around and find his picture on the wall.
Oh, wow. That's got to be just trippy for you.
It is. It's trippy, but it's nice because you, like you said, I mean, this is a guy who's still doing his job.
Right.
You know, he's still up and down the lighthouse. He's, you know, checking the Fresnel lens and all that stuff. He's just doing his thing. But now he's got all these people to kind of keep an eye on and make sure they don't screw up his lighthouse.
Right. Don't mess with my stuff.
Don't mess with my shit. So,
I love that.
Yeah, I've got to get to like an actual investigation. Like I need to link up. I told Chris and Audrey, I was like, I gotta come up to North Carolina. It's not that far from St. Augustine.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
It is. I mean, just you enjoy the history, and obviously you'll get different things because of your sensitivities. But especially when you're with the good people, it's a really good time. I really enjoy the investigations, mostly because the people I investigate with are wonderful, amazing people, and just spending time with them is great. And again, the history part, I just eat it up just to be on location and be there. And then the stuff that happens between the personal experiences to the EVPs and stuff that we catch later. And that's the part that a lot of people don't realize is how much time after the investigations is spent pouring through hours and hours of video, audio recorders, pictures, all kinds of stuff.
And subtle stuff. Subtle.
Absolutely.
Like you got to have that trained ear to be able to even, I mean, how many times are you having to rewind that stuff to catch it and see if you actually heard what you thought you heard the first go around? So not only is it hours and hours of all that stuff, but you're having to re-listen to a bunch of it over and over, I would guess, as you're compiling all that.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll put it through some software to kind of like clean it up a little bit. And that will help as well. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. My niece is going to be 13. And so she's super into the paranormal. And so I like brought her back stuff from Tala and stuff. She was really excited. But I was showing her some of the pictures as I was going through some evidence. And she was staying the night over with me. And I was showing her, pictures. And I showed her this one, and it was a live picture on my Apple phone. And she's like, "Hey, did you see that?" And I was like, "See what?" She saw, like, it was a picture of a room, and there's windows on the sides coming down. So there's like 3 sets of windows on both sides. So towards the back of the room, and I didn't even catch it, the last window, you can see a shadow come across. And I didn't even see it. My old eyes. She's like, "Hey, no." And I was like, I blew it up and I was like, "Oh, you're right." There is something.
Well, a fresh set of eyes too. I guess somebody who's not used to looking at things like that. Maybe that's like, I don't know. It's a fresh set of eyes sometimes to be able to catch that.
And younger eyes too,
Right.
So I don't think that that hurts either.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she was super excited. I was excited too. I was like, "Hey, well, good job." I didn't see that the first like 7 times I went through the pictures.
You're right.
Yeah. Cause I think too, I have to go back through them because I think you start to get overwhelmed too. And you everything starts to blur together. You're like, "Okay, break time." We'll go back to it when I'm a little bit. Yeah. When you're a little bit fresh. Even in the investigations, like when you do those overnights, 6-7 hours, you have to take a break and, kind of, usually I'll go outside and just kind of shake it off, kind of get out of the area, get the feelings and stuff out, just take deep breaths and go out, relax, reset, and then go back in.
Well, because you've got a spiritual practice, I know. So it's like everybody, I always ask people what's their favorite way to ground and protect their energy, because everyone has a different way of doing it. Like, whether it's crystals or it's prayer or it's sage or whatever it is, everyone's got something different. And a lot of that obviously would align with what your spiritual practice is. So do you have something specific that you guys do or that you do individually before you go into a place, especially if it's like a St. Albans type scenario or a Tala type situation where you really have to be extra guarded just so you don't run out of gas too early?
Well, a lot of us, and even though I'm not a practicing Christian, but we'll all join in prayer. And that it's just the community, right? Like the feeling of sharing our protection and grounding kind of together that I like. I also, like I said, I'll kind of come outside and kind of shake it off, but, do like a tiny meditation, just kind of center myself, just to get back to being, whole and grounded and not feeling kind of spaced out as far as,
floaty headed.
Yeah. Like, you get like that after a while. And plus, we're wandering around in the dark and, there's bats and stuff. So you're always, no matter what, you're very aware of your surroundings and that like heightened sense. You can't stay there all the time and not have it drag on you. So you have to take a step away to recenter yourself and kind of just have that downtime, even if it's just for a couple minutes, so that you can go back in and restart. I mean, personally, that's what I have to do. And I think most people I know that investigate do that as well. That's
a really good point too. I think people seem to be putting more importance on that side of things, the grounding and protecting part. And it's, and I think a lot of times when people hear those 2 words, they think, oh, demon, just like, TV teaches us everything's a demon. But I think
we're all wandering around with sage, like,
right. Just like sage actually gets rid of spirits, right? People, I've learned that's not
smudging.
Right. All the things, all of the time. But I think, it's one of those things where people are starting to understand the importance of doing that just for your own, because we are like batteries. So like you can be in an investigation and you've got your brand new batteries in your camcorder or your digital recorder or whatever, and the batteries are gone. Same shit happens to humans.
Absolutely.
So I think people are starting to understand better how important that is. And it's not because you're expecting to be terrified or run out of a place. It's just because you have to be able to still function when you leave the place, because you hit the nail on the head. You've got that heightened sensitivity because you are wandering around in the dark. You're also focusing more on what you're super focused on your hearing, seeing tiny movements. So that's a whole lot of energy you're not normally having to expend. And so there seems to be a shift of people really starting to take that. Even people who aren't practicing anything. I'm not a practicing Christian. I'm a recovering Catholic, as I jokingly say. 12 years of Catholic school was enough for me. Yep, I did. So, yeah. So, but again, like you said, it's still, when I do energy healing, I thought about it one day and I'm like, I'm still praying. It's, so it's still, like you said, that it's the community, it's a singular intent. It's that commonality, togetherness. That really, I think, is super important and changes the energy too of a space.
Absolutely. And I think it, makes us all feel, it just makes you feel good. You know, when you're about to go into a place that, and almost all of them are kind of oppressive feeling. And not just the way, it gets worse depending on what kind of place you're in, the jails, obviously. But a lot of them are they feel oppressive just in there, even during the day. Yeah. So let alone when you're at night and you have, like we talked about, I know the history. I know what has happened there. We all do. And we know the kind of terrible things that have gone on there. So you also have, and we talk about this a lot actually on the podcast, is power of suggestion. So knowing all that, you have that suggestiveness for, all the horrible things, you know where you're going into. So it's so easy to feel overwhelmed. Yeah. Going into those places just because you know how terrible it was. Yeah. Like think of going to a concentration camp or something like that. Like you feel awful. Yeah. The whole time you're there.
There's nothing. I can't even imagine walking onto a property like that. And I think that for me is part of the other reason I haven't really done much investigating, because I am such an empath. This is going to sound really horrible. I history buff, just like you are, have always been fascinated by the Holocaust. That fascination started for me, I think, in about the 3rd grade, which I know is very weird. Read as much as I could, went to the Holocaust Museum. And then in about 8th grade, I'd had my fill. And so to this day, I can watch all kinds of terrible things happen to humans, but you put on an ASPCA commercial,
crying,
I'm out. Forget it. Can't do it. And then, so there's, you go to these places and you just can't escape some of that sadness, especially when in a lot of situations, these people weren't in control of what was happening to them. And I think that makes it even harder to deal with. Like, I know St. Albans for y'all was really tough.
Right. And and again, even, any of the prisons, the sanatoriums, like just because somebody's in prison doesn't mean that they deserve what happened, especially, back in people were just basically tortured. Yeah. Not basically, they were, and terribly. And they were cruel to each other, and the guards were cruel, and the system was cruel. Everything, was just awful. And you go into these places and it just feels terrible. And that's something that you do have to deal with, is carrying that part, that human part of it with you as you investigate these places. And again, even like you said, when you go visit places, like to learn about history and the terrible things, if you go to, like you said, you were at I don't know if it was a plantation, but that they had opened up where the slaves were kept. Yeah. I mean, it's important things for people to see and be aware of. And I believe that people should go see them, even in all the more uncomfortable it makes you, the better.
Agreed.
And, but it takes a toll on you, any of those places, because it should. If it's not, there's a problem.
That's exactly right. And I wonder too, you were talking earlier about community. And I don't know about you. I've only been in this realm of things for about, I don't know, 8 months. I mean, like you, I've been fascinated by this stuff for a long time. I've watched all the shows, all that stuff. But the community of this field has blown me away. Like, just in meeting Andrea, my whole world has opened up to a whole new group of people that I didn't even know existed out there, And I have met the most amazingly wonderful people. And I think when you go to an investigation, like when you did Tala with 20 people, you're all excited. So you're bringing that collective passion to the table too. You're bringing, your respect of the spirits, acknowledging their former humanness. You're respecting each other and how you investigate it, and like a willingness to learn. So I also wonder too, when you have a group like that comes in where it leads with a positive vibe, how does that feel for the spirits too? Like, you have to wonder, does that lift them up a little bit for the night while you're there? You know what I mean? Like, just
right.
Energy's everything. So. You would hope so, right?
Yeah. And I think, I'm lucky enough to be a part of a group that is just amazing and the people are just lovely. But honestly, everyone that I have met has been great.
Yeah.
So, now I'm getting more and more friends all over the country.
Yep.
And meeting more people all the time. And it's amazing. And then they invite you like, hey, come,
yeah.
Come to New York. Hey, come investigate this with us. Come hang out. And it's genuine. They want you to come. They want you to come and do this with them. And we all have such a passion for it. And it's just, like you said, it's just a shared commonality of it that, it's like fast friends all the time.
It is. You're past the small talk. You don't have to get through that awkward, painful small talk. If you go to a Paracon or you, like you said, you go to a private event or something, you're already past the small shit. You already know what the other person's into. So you can just dive right into it. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
Everybody has so nice, so welcoming. Like, sometimes I still pinch myself and I'm like, how is this my life right now? How do I get to do and sit on a Friday night on a World Awakening and talk to people like you? I mean, what are the chances I would have gotten to run into all of you people, that we would all be this merry band of weirdos, as I call it, together. Right. It's just so awesome.
It is super awesome. Yeah. It's like going to ghost camp, like with your best friends all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Like, for a night, like, how can you not have fun running around the dark in these amazing buildings with all this history with fun people? You're just going to have a good time.
You get to be kids all over again.
100%. Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. And like I said, my niece now is super into it. I don't always let them listen to the podcast because we drop the F-bomb a lot. And obviously the material is sometimes really not appropriate. But my son also is like, let me listen to an episode. I'm like, I let him listen to Chupacabra because I was like, let me fast forward through this part and then you can listen to the Chupacabra part. Yeah, but they're like into it too, because it really is like it's a fascination. It's like wonder, it's bringing back mystery and wonder into our generally mundane, boring adult lives, like it's not groceries and laundry and, bounds in your checkbook. It's, it's going out with your friends. Yeah.
Let your inner child run nuts.
Exactly. And you get to, I don't know, to me, it's always challenging my beliefs, which is another thing that I have just really loved about it. Because I've been like, I don't know if I believe in ghosts or, a real afterlife or what happens and blah, blah, blah. But you have these experiences and I have to go, well, I most certainly can't explain that. So, and I meet people who have completely different beliefs politically, spiritually. I mean, as far as like, organized religion, stuff like that. And we have very different ideas of those things, but together we can come together and have commonality and explore things together and have a sense of wonder and mystery together. And I think that again, fast friends, and these aren't people that I would have met, going through my daily life. And I feel really blessed to be able to do that. And
I think people. You too, and when you're coming from that common ground, that common thing that unites us all, whether it's spirits or cryptids or UFO, I mean, it's all, all possible and all things. But it also, because like you said too, you're dealing with people from different backgrounds of all kinds, whether it's religious or, where you're from or, life experience matters not. So it's also even easier to have, I feel like, harder discussions because you're already sort of on the same level about one big major thing in your life. So it kind of makes it easier to sort of be accepting of other stuff. You know what I mean?
100%. So yeah, you see what a good, person somebody is and how that they do, relate, and they're empathetic and they're smart. They're thinking about ways to investigate, and you see all these things about somebody before you. And I wish we could do this all the time, but you see all of these wonderful characteristics before maybe you find out that maybe they don't sit on the same political side as you do, or they don't, maybe believe stuff that you don't, or they come from places, have very different life experiences, like what you're saying. But now you're already attached, kind of, like you already have this relationship that's built on respect and trust, because you have to trust people to investigate with them. I'm not going to be running around in the dark in a crazy asylum with people I don't trust.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, especially as a woman, I wouldn't do that. No. Just go randomly run around an abandoned building
with random adult men,
right? Yeah, right? Absolutely not. So yeah, you build this trust, and we take care of each other. You make sure nobody gets hurt. We're always looking out, like, hey guys, watch your step. I mean, just simple things like that. But we're all together. There's a big, when I said camp, I'm not really exaggerating. Like, we're doing you're doing things together in a group, and you want to make sure everybody has a good time and everybody, is safe and feels good, right? Doesn't end up overwhelmed, and you'll see if somebody ends up overwhelmed, like a bunch of people will take them outside. Are you okay? We'll talk to them, Let's make sure everybody has a good time.
It's amazing what a singular intent can do, and
absolutely
a singular focus for an investigation or just being together as a group. But like, I know when we were in Charlotte last week, it's a whole different kind of energy. And it wasn't like a paracon. They're really trying to build the paranormal side of it. So the paracon side of it was smaller than most of your events would be, but it's still that same energy, right? These are all your, the gamers and, the people that are into the live action role play and like Dungeons and Dragons. And so to be in that element was really neat because it's not my world. Right. But it was funny because I was sitting with Roger, who's, 86. And so a lot of the things he just didn't understand. A lot of it was, people dressed like dragons and, he's kind of looking at me like, what the hell is going on here? And I'm like, well, you got to look at it this way. I'm like, these people are just as passionate about this stuff as we are about the paranormal stuff.
Right.
So it's the same exact vibe that we get when we run around old places, or we all get together, go to dinner or whatever it is. When we all get together, it's just like the best kind of chaos and mayhem you can have because everybody's so excited. Right. So like we left dinner Saturday night. Oh, it was Andrea and most of your counterparts. And we're dipped out and we left the restaurant. We were walking back to the hotel and they were having a dance party for this con event.
Okay.
So you've got hula hoops and people are dressed up and they are just the energy rolling off these people in ways. It was just like, I just want to breathe this in all night, because that's like the good stuff, because we all need to do more things that light us up, right? We're all stuck. Well, I quit my job last year, but before that, very much stuck in that routine, same shit, get up, brush my teeth, go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to bed, get it like all the time, right? Enjoy your Saturday and then stress all day Sunday about having to go to work on Monday.
Right.
But this community that we're in, or whatever community it is for you, really gives us that chance, like you said, to just play and have fun. And I think you're totally right when you say going to camp.
Right. Yeah. It's just a really fun time. I mean, when Carrie asked me to come on I'll give you a little background. So I was living in Texas. Like I said, I got divorced and I moved back. So I was rebuilding my life and finding, new interests and things to, explore. Like a lot of people, coming out of a divorce. And I just kind of was lucked into this. And it has been such a blessing. Pushed me out of my comfort zone 100%. I mean, just being on this show is, doing the podcast. I'm a I'm a pretty private person.
Yeah.
You know, it still blows my mind that somebody could be listening to me talk or would want to listen to me talk, you know, in Australia right now, like, you know, and be interested in the research and the book reports that I have done about these places. I mean, of course I find it interesting, but you know, that kind of just blows my mind, you know, that so many people are into it, and that, you know, it forced me to kind of spread my wings a little bit as far as putting myself out there and being more vulnerable, you know, publicly, and obviously, you know, with the podcast and such. But it's been so great, and everyone, like we were talking about, is so welcoming. You just feel like you can do more and more.
Yes.
And I really just want to do more and more. Like you're saying, you want to investigate. You're going to investigate, and then you're going to get. It's like you get hooked.
Yeah.
And you're going to have such a good time. You're going to be like, okay, when's the next one? Because I was just at Tulsa a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, so what's happening?
What's next? Where are we going next?
Right.
Well,
what do we do?
I think we have similar story from that regard, because I'm still new to this. I mean, I met Andrew and Roger last September, so it's only been like 8 months. Right. So I didn't even know all of you and all of this stuff exists. I mean, I knew about, you know, the TV shows. I knew people.
Right. That's all I knew too, really.
But I had no idea there was just this whole giant community of people who just love this stuff. And same thing. I mean, had you told me I was going to be on a podcast, I'm definitely afraid of talking in front of crowds. If you told me to get on a stage and do this, I'd have said, absolutely, absolutely not. There'd have been an F-bomb or 4 in there probably. And like, still, if we go to events and people pull out a camera, I'm the first one to run other way. You know, I am extroverted in the right kinds of scenarios, but I also fiercely protective of my privacy too. And that, you know, and like you said, having to jump out of my comfort zone. I jokingly say that Andrea opens doors and then just kicks me through them, you know, because she knows I'm fearful of a lot of things. And so she'll just tell me, you got to get over that. This, you know, this is the next step. You're going to have to. So I've just started saying yes to as many things as I can that make sense and are safe, obviously. Just, you know, but because I think the kicker for us is that because it's a thing that we're passionate about and we love so much, it's worth the uncomfortable stepping out to be able to broaden our horizons with the thing that we love so much. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's I haven't taken a step that I haven't been really happy about. Maybe not when I was doing it, but afterwards, you know? So yeah, it's that part it's really growth, you know?
Yeah.
And it's been challenging. You know, Carrie is, as you know, I'm an extrovert too, but again, right situation. More personal than like, you know, online, you know, kind of that kind of stuff. So speaking in front of crowds, you know, you could just give Carrie any kind of a stage and she is more than happy to just talk. That's why I think we're good together, is because we are different. But I mean, I remember when we were staying in the Stanley, we were staying in one of the most haunted rooms. So they do the tours, right? The people come through.
Right.
And they're fairly big tours. So there's probably, let's say 20 people. We walk out of our door to go, I think we're going to the bar to get a drink or something or eat. And there's 20 people, you know, standing outside of our room staring at our door, which to me, I walk out and I'm super uncomfortable immediately and like beeline through the crowd. Carrie comes out and is holding court. Now she's like, let me tell you what has happened. Do you guys want to see inside?
I can see that.
She's like showing people our hotel room and talking to them about anything that transpired. You know, she's like, I'll give you the 411. Come take a look. What do we got? Meanwhile, I'm down the hall just waiting like, all right, come on.
Yeah, I know. Same thing. I mean, when we went to Vegas, that was, I hadn't met any of these folks that we see on TV. And it's funny because for me, it's not the celebrity status of these folks, right? I mean, of course, you've been watching Taps forever. It's, you know, hell, I didn't even know who Andrea was when I was at the event where I met her. I just thought she and her dad were these people that brought their cute dog. I thought they were attending the event. I had no idea. But I go to Vegas and you've got everybody's there, all your big TV shows. And I was really nervous meeting them, but it wasn't for the celebrity status. It was like, these are these are the people responsible for my falling in love with this stuff, and having so much respect for the work that they do and what how they've brought this to the masses and made it accessible for everyone. So to be able to like shake their hands and thank them for that was just like, it took me like 20 minutes to get up the nerve to talk to a couple of these people. And then I'm like, why are you doing this? It's like, same thing. Step out of the comfort zone. Vegas is a one-shot deal. You're not going to probably get to go back to this particular event, so you might as well take advantage of it now. But it was sort of my first foray into having to like put myself out there,
right,
a little bit, Yeah,
and
crazy.
Yeah, and because Carrie, the paranormal was really Carrie's big thing. So I'm late coming to it. Like I liked it, and I thought it was super interesting, and I liked the shows and all that, but I mean, really, being, she started as an investigator before me, all of that. So she knows who all these people are.
Right.
So she'll tell me, oh, this person or this. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. I don't know. I don't know who anybody is. So she'll have to explain to me, like, Andrea, I didn't know who Andrea was. She's like, I was like, oh, okay. All right. She gave me the backstory. I was like, okay, I know that. Okay. All right. Now I'm up to speed now, Yeah. And Andrea's just an amazing person. And, I mean, I could pick her brain for so many hours.
Road trips are classic because she's trapped in the car with me until we get to where we're going. And I'm like,
nice.
What are we going to talk about today? And they're so accessible, so easy to talk to. Just, she always talks about, she's the same person if she's in front of a whole bunch of people, or if you're riding in the car with her, sitting at the house, setting up books. There's so many just kind people in this industry that are well known, that just want to help you, get where you want to be, or help, help you along with whatever it is that you need. I mean, she kind of took me in under her wing. For what I did to deserve that, I'm not entirely sure. She'd say it was the universe and it was supposed to happen, which I would tend to agree with. But same way, like I had seen, I'm like Carrie, I know all the shows. I've literally run out of paranormal shows to watch. I'm out, like flat out. But with them, I had seen the house. Obviously, I hadn't even seen the movies. I don't do scary movies.
I don't do scary movies either.
They terrify me for whatever
horror,
reason.
Yeah.
Not at all. And so when I met them, I was just, the first night, it was like a VIP thing. And I tend to kind of like hang back and sort of not be the crowd that bum rushes the celebrities the minute they walk in the door. I kind of just like to see how that plays out. So they had Peanut with them, the little Chihuahua. And so I just talked, and you know how it is when humans meet humans and they have a dog, you don't talk about human stuff. You certainly don't get human names. You just get the dog's name and you go about your day.
Right.
So we talked about rescuing dogs because I have a rescue. She had a rescue. And then I went on about my night. So of course I go to the event the next day, and lo and behold, color me shocked when she gets up on stage to speak. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't, I just didn't.
Right. You didn't know who it was. Yeah.
I didn't know who she was. I had no idea. And I hadn't seen the movies. And so I think too, like organically to be able to have fallen into this, like we have, and I think a lot of us do, it's like your path lines up and then it's just sort of smooth sailing from there, however it falls into your lap, like whatever your specialty is, whether for you guys, it's the podcast and the investigation. It just, the people fall into your life at the right moment. And then you're just surrounded by this incredibly huge community of people that you didn't even know you were missing. I think that's what blows my mind the most. I didn't know what I was missing.
And there's not a lot of like you were talking about, there's not a lot of pretense. There's not like a division of I'm this and I'm that. And I think if somebody acts like that, they're going to get exiled pretty quick. Like it's everybody's that I have come in contact with so far, super down to earth, really easy to talk to.
Yep.
Just there's not, pomp and circumstance with a lot of the stuff that, maybe I think in other environments you would have.
Oh, completely agree.
Yeah. And it's, everybody's like you were saying, accessible. Like you can just go up and talk to whoever and you never know who you're going to meet or what kind of experiences they've had. And it's getting to learn that about these people that is the most interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, I think too, we're all, us being, I think I would say that most all of us are into the historical side of this stuff. I mean, why would you do this if you weren't, to some degree? Right. But I think because of that mindset, we're also so much more open to learning things from other people, even if they do it different than we do. Like, we're just, because we don't have that pretense, we're all kind of open books and sort of like sponges. We're taking in as much information as we can, because once you find something you're passionate about, I mean, can you ever learn it too much? I don't think so.
No, I mean, the paranormal, the umbrella of it all, you're interested in it because you have natural curiosity.
Yes.
You want to know about ghosts. You want to know about UFOs. You want to know about all of that. So if that's your passion, you're here to learn. You're here to find out things. It's we all have that curiosity. So of course we want to talk to whoever to find out what they know. Like, what do you know that I don't know?
Yeah.
Tell me what you know. How do you do this? How would you approach this? What do what's your thing? So I find that is just a common thread with everybody that is involved in this kind of arena.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like you said too, I mean, when you have big groups of investigators, especially when you're like when you all had the Tala event, you're not taking guests on you're all actual investigators who do this pretty seriously. So you're not having, it's just a different environment altogether. Right. It's really mostly research and that kind of thing. You're not so much about the proofs.
We're not doing a fan event. We're not teaching people how to investigate. Right. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So you're just in a position where everybody's doing something different, using different equipment. And we all know spirits don't give information the same way to everybody. So what you and Carrie may pick up, maybe something different than Chris and Audra picks up using the same equipment. So to be able to compare notes or what worked, what didn't, is just another opportunity for everybody to get closer, keep forming that bond. And then it keeps that openness to learn and willingness to work together always at the forefront without even really having to talk about it. Does that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
It's just instant. It's just almost built in. Now, of course, there's always going to be drama and chaos in any sort of, that's just humans, right? But I feel like overall, this whole community, super supportive of each other. I mean, the amount of people I've met has just been astounding. I mean, what are the chances you and I would have met if you're not for this?
Exactly. And know, and I find that the more you do these investigations, or you meet a couple people, because that's how it starts, right? You meet a couple people, maybe at a con or what have you, investigation, and then it snowballs.
Yeah.
Everything with our podcast in the past 6 months or so has snowballed, and now it's just getting bigger. Our community is getting bigger. Our listeners, more and more listeners, and we're finding new ways to, we're talking about the book and stuff like that, stuff that we're projects that we're working on, going to more cons, doing more investigations, and again, the circle just gets bigger and bigger.
It does,
and so easily. It's you don't even have to try.
Y'all are coming to come to St. Augustine, I think, for that event next year, possibly, right?
Yeah. We're starting to put stuff on the calendar for next year. So I'm pretty much next year, my vacations are almost all going to be to bear cons.
But that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Keep growing that out. Well, and sorry, my dog has just.
That's okay. I was waiting for my cat to come in. Actually, I left the door open behind me because I was if I don't, he gets mad and he'll start knocking the door. Yeah. So I was I'll just leave it open in case because if it's open, he won't feel like he needs to come in. He'll just leave me be.
His dad is out of town, so he's a little out of sorts. But yeah, I mean, I think my schedule's starting to get that way too. I mean, anytime Andrew needs me to help travel or whatever, I do it because I'm learning I guess for me, I'm learning more. I've learned more in the last, spiritual journey. That was 3 years ago, but more in the past 3 years. And then obviously with this community, the last 8 months. And I've never been more happy to take in more information in my brain. My brain hurts some days. I've read more books about shit that I never thought I'd be reading about, quantum entanglement and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not an idiot, but I did not like school, right? I love to learn, but not I didn't like school. It just wasn't my thing. But like this stuff, I just can't get enough. So like anything I can get my hands on. Like I just got Ron's book.
Yeah.
So
I have it too. I have it too.
This weekend.
Yeah. I'm the same way. It's amazing. Like the more I learn, the more I want to know.
Yeah. It's rekindled a passion for learning, or ignited a passion for learning. I don't think I ever realized that I had. And I think that's really important too. It's like, I found my people, which I think is so massively nice. I wish it hadn't taken so long, but everything's divinely timed, right? So, but like you said, just to keep expanding that network and keep learning new things and meeting new people and just staying open to everything is a pretty cool place to be.
Yeah, I'm at this point in my life. And again, I was thinking the same thing. I wish this would have happened 20 years ago.
Right.
And
right.
When I had even more energy.
Right.
And less responsibilities. I could do more stuff. But especially like you said, because I'm on the other coast, so I'm flying back, pretty frequently. But I just love it. Like I can't get enough. And I'm at a really great place in my life that I have a lot to thank this community for.
Yeah.
And the podcast, our listeners, and everybody that has put me into contact with.
Yeah.
And
people that support your journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we support theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, as women, I mean, I talked on this when I was on with my friend Robin the last time, but I think especially it's been helpful for me to have established female friendships. I've never really had that. Females were usually not very nice to me growing up. But so now to be surrounded by all these women who do support each other and build each other up. And if someone's having an off day and somebody calls, I need your help, and you're right there. And to know that that's reciprocated, because we talk about some crazy shit, especially some of the stuff you've seen. You get enough sensitives in the room and enough investigators, things can go flying off the rails real quick. And people not in this community are like, what the fuck?
Right.
But for us, it's just like, I've never been happier to be surrounded by such strong, empowered, incredible, amazing women.
Yeah. And that is, and it's really cool because there aren't a lot of enough environments where women really help each other and look out for each other. And I feel like this is 100% a safe space for us, and we help each other. It's like one hand reaching up and one hand down, pulling everybody up with us.
Yep.
And sharing our information. And it's so important. And like I said, there's just not enough of it.
There's not.
Yeah. And I love to see more women getting into it and coming into the community. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I hope more and more do.
I think they will. I think it's, especially from a sensitive standpoint. I mean, women's intuition's kind of tough to beat. No offense to our male sensitives in the house, obviously, but I think it allows women to feel safer to step into that space, because I think that's a lot of times, I mean, this has obviously always been a male dominated community, but you are starting to see that shift, and I think for that shift to be happening, but then to be supported by the men already in the community most of the time and being like, oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely. The men in our community are fantastic about
super supportive.
And they'll take the back seat, like they know that we're strong and capable and we can go to these scary places and wander around, and no man is chasing after me to make sure I'm okay. That doesn't happen. Yeah. They know that we are 100% capable, and they allow women to vocalize, like kind of what you were saying, like you is a sensitive, like you can vocalize your feelings and there's no like back end of that. Like everybody just kind of accepts that as your feelings.
Yeah.
And honors that. And I feel like that goes for, a lot of the sensitives get that safe space.
Yeah. Very much.
Yeah. So good for women to be able to step into that and have that support so that they can explore that part of themselves.
Hey girl. Hey. Hi, Miss Carrie.
Anyone on this show, won't they?
I know. Can you believe it?
Right.
Hi, girls.
Hi, welcome. That's
Hi.
okay. We're glad you made it.
Thank you. I have to admit, I was peeking in on Laura from the graduation.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. I heard what you said.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
We've been talking a lot of shit. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm talking terrible things about you as usual.
Right. And it's on the internet forever, so you can't lie about it.
Forever. So welcome to the party.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Sorry I'm late. I was having the bestest time. My niece's graduation today. She graduated from high school. And so.
Well, hello, Carrie.
Hi, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
I'm so excited. This just like went whole extra level with all this on here.
Now it's going to be off the walls.
I think Tony should take over now.
And say hello. And for people that don't know,
Wait, what?
Oh, I think he's got a delay. He might have a little bit of a delay on his end.
there is a lag, but it's not on my side from what I can see.
Huh.
Well, I don't know.
That's bizarre.
What'd I miss?
Well, we've talked all kinds of stuff. We've really, the last few minutes, been talking about, and Tony would be a massive part of this for me, was just the amazing community that is this particular community of people, paranormal, and just finding your people and feeling accepted as you are, and Tony was a big part of that for me. I mean, when I first came on Andrea's show, I was like, you want me to what? And he was like, oh, you're going to be fine. Talk me off the ledge. I got to meet him and Cherie in Vegas. And so Tony's always been a big, part of that story for me. And that's how I met both of you.
Yeah.
The man that met the Tony.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly how this wonderful, amazing world of opportunity started for me. Was I met Tony and Cherie and Chris and Audra when they were doing their tours of Phelps Dodge down in Ajo. And then, they messaged me and they were like, here's the evidence that you caught. And hey, by the way, we're going to go and do a private, just us of Phelps. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, yeah. And then from there, they took me under the wing, taught me how to be a paranormal investigator. And here I am.
I love it. Well, and we've gotten, Tony, did you get all square? Can you hear us okay now?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what that was, but I had to jump on. Carrie and Laura have done just some fantastic stuff within the paranormal over the last, year and a half, 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I remember quite a few years ago when Carrie was first getting into the paranormal, and we got the opportunity to actually help train her. And she's just run with it from there and done a fantastic job, Carrie. So
Thank you.
Really wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tony was there on my first investigation, my first real investigation too.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, I got to do my first investigation with Tony and Cherie as well.
Yeah, that amazing hospital launched a lot of paranormal investigator careers.
It sure has.
Yeah. I mean, who better to learn from?
Really?
Right.
Well, I don't know about that, but we did the best we could. So but apparently it went okay because, like I said, the two of them have been jumping into location after location after location. And I know you guys have a lot of stuff planned coming up this year yet, next year.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic to see. There's nothing better than to see somebody who has an interest. And I remember you saying, Carrie, well, I don't know if I can do it. And I'm a little nervous. But I mean, you did tours at the hospital. You literally took over for us when we weren't around. And you did a fantastic job. I mean, people were saying how great it was and how great the investigation was. That was Halloween night, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now you're taking on Tala and all sorts of other things. So
yes,
really cool.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I certainly do appreciate it. And like I said, I'm only as good as my training. And that was thanks to you and Cherie and Chris and Audra. So, and it's not like I don't have you guys still, because there are still times where I have evidence that I'm like, Chris, can you take a look at this? Tony, what do you think of this FLIR capture? I'm still learning the evidentiary side of it.
Right.
And, passing that on to Laura. And so Laura will be like, hey, what do you think of this? Well, I don't know. We should have them take a look at it. So there's a lot of different things that you guys are still teaching me with regard to, like I said, FLIR captures and, EVPs and what can really be considered and what can't. And and I feel like that's just kind of an ongoing thing. You know what I mean? Like as I come across new stuff that I've never experienced before that you guys have, of course, you guys are the first ones that I'm going to go to with that, because I don't trust anybody before I trust you guys. So,
well, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. Although you're in good hands being with, same team as Chris and Audra. I mean, they are good investigators. They know what they're doing. So, it's so cool that, Chris and Audra were here and moved really quickly after.
They did, yeah.
And we were all here in Arizona, but the groups are still associating with each other, still meeting for locations. That's very cool.
Yeah, and that's really important too, because you guys are such a cohesive team that it's important to get to do investigations together and kind of get the old gang back, but then also be introducing each other to new techniques that you may have learned from other groups that weren't with you when you did an investigation of, say, like the Shanley or Kingsland Manor or Trans-Allegheny or that kind of thing. So it's always it's always good to just kind of extend the brand, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Exactly. And get other locations that are good across the country. I mean, that's phenomenal that we're in different areas and can experience different places and then share them and end up putting another group together to say, hey, let's go here. This place was great. So that's just awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
When you've taken us all in, Tony and Cherie too, with open arms, and well, I know in my case, you didn't know me from Adam's House Cat, other than I'm this crazy person that Andrea met at an event, so we're gonna have her on the show, and I was absolutely scared out of my mind. But
look at what you've accomplished too. You let those doors open. I mean, you're doing podcasts. You're heading up a World Awakening. Are you not? I'm sorry.
Filling in on occasion.
Well, right, but National Ghost Hunting Day, aren't you?
Just the Metaphysical Committee. Yeah, so we're doing. I was asked to chair that, and then Carrie's on that with me as well, and I may have more for her to help me with in that regard. But I mean, the point is, you've been so instrumental for all of us.
Yeah.
In getting a start on any level, whether it was investigating or being on the show or whatever. You've always been so kind and so welcoming and so just like the perfect, like a mentor type person for me. I mean, I don't investigate, but I still look to you. I often think, especially on these shows, sometimes what would Tony do? You just have a tank top.
I appreciate that, but this show is about Carrie and Laura, so let's let them. I appreciate the compliments, but I really just wanted to join in the conversation. But let's let them talk.
You got it. All right, Carrie's on the hot seat now.
Right? Oh, okay.
Not really the hot seat, but so we know that Laura is definitely more on the skeptic side of things, right? We've discussed that.
Yes.
But you and I have had conversations at length over the last couple months that we've known each other about tapping in energetically along with using your equipment.
Right. Yes.
So how often are you tapping more in from an energetic standpoint to go with like what your body, because we've talked about that at length, like what your body's telling you when you're on an investigation. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
in past spots, I know we've talked about some of your experience, like at St. Albans or some of the things at Tala, and there are things that you're clearly like getting energetically, more than having to rely on the equipment, even though obviously you've got to have the balance of both.
Right, exactly. Because I mean, I can feel that there's something around me all night long. But if I'm not recording or I'm not doing anything, then it's really just me being like, oh, I felt ghosts.
I feel it.
Yeah, I got nothing to back it up, right?
Yeah.
So, I have always had an empathic sense. I can always tell when there's a creepy vibe, and Tony can attest to this. Like, I'm not afraid to go off by myself. The second time I had investigated Phelps, and he's like, you want to go up to the nursery where, we get the most EVPs and there's a doctor there and Mary's up there. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, well, here's a walk. I'm like, okay, bye. And I just, up the stairs I went. And, so I'm not afraid of doing that.
Right.
But I am working on honing my intuition, especially when I go into a location like this. And Aaron and Laura, I told you about this. We talked about it on History of Hauntings recap of St. Albans. I hated that place. I hated St. Albans, and it was a bucket list location. And the reason I hated it was because I felt everything there in an emotional way. So I felt like somebody was following me around, and then I sent in a section of audio to Chris, and he was like, hey, actually somebody was, but they thought you were following them. So we actually captured an EVP, me turning around saying, who's following me? Because I'd gone out by myself. Right. And we captured an EVP saying, why are you following me? And I'm like, it was just gross vibes in that building. And I have never, ever experienced that anywhere that I've ever gone to investigate. And Trans-Allegheny had really horrible, awful, no good, really bad things happen there. But St. Albans was a bit of a different beast. And I could not wait to get out of it. I couldn't wait to leave. Yeah. And I slept for 18 hours after I got home because the energy there was just so thick and so gross. The land it was on was disgusting, and Draper's Meadow was a massacre. The boys' school was horrible and awful, and terrible things happened to the kids there. And then it was a sanitarium, and it was just
nothing good.
Nothing good. So this time, the second time around at Trans-Allegheny, I really did try to use my empathic abilities to guide me more than the first time. Because I knew the layout, I knew the experiences we'd had the first time. So this time I kind of tried to throw my empathic ability out there a little bit more, and still walking around by myself, not as much as Laura.
We discussed the need for a bell belt. For Laura.
It led to new podcast merch, but we'll talk about that on History of Haunting. But there was a point where they had opened up the first floor of the laboratory, or not the laboratory, Laura, help me, lobotomy, in the criminal intake ward. And they had opened up a brand new section. What did they call it? The dilapidated section or something? Yeah.
I think it was dilapidated.
Yeah. And then when she had given us a tour, she's like, well, this is new. We have just refurbished this, and we have just made this okay. So where people can come go in it, and you guys are the first ones, and you can go in here, and there's a door behind there. You can go through that door if you want to. And we were like, okay, great. So we have a team down there, and they're like, oh, we want to go to the dilapidated ward and check it out. Okay. So Carrie, you go first. So I'm like, okay. So I lead this, merry band of misfits through this brand new unseen ward of Trans-Allegheny. And they're like, can we go in that door down there? And I'm like, yeah. And I didn't want to go in the door. I knew. I was like, Carrie, don't go in the door. Or if you go in the door after somebody. And I turn around, and they're all standing behind me like, no, Labrat, go first.
Right?
Like, okay, I just got to go in the door. Well, turns out what was behind the door was bats.
We've discussed bats too.
Yeah, they're a common theme.
Bats. So many more bats than at Phelps, Tony. Oh my God.
Well, they never bothered you at Phelps. You just let them fly by you, and you ducked your head once or twice.
Yeah.
New bats, new location, not familiar bats, I guess.
Yes. Well, and I think these guys weren't used to people being down there. So they end with lights, and in the dark, it was just, they were dive bombing us. My friend Zach had one hit him in the face. It was a whole thing. So we're walking through, and I know I'm following something deeper into this maze of hallways that are rotting wood and water everywhere and like just piles of garbage almost kind of everywhere, right, Laura? There was just a hot mess. And I'm like, we couldn't get away from the bats. So everybody was like, you know what? Let's just leave. And I'm like, yeah, whatever I was following was like, we trapped it. Right. And I'm like, yeah, we can just go. So then, of course, everybody was like, all right, let's go. And then, so everybody wanted to be the leader then when we were booking it out of that area.
Nobody wants to be last at that point.
Yes. And I'm like, I turned around and I was like, please stay here. Mm-hmm. And kept walking, and I could feel it wasn't following us.
Yeah.
So
but in that wild, I mean, I love the team that you guys work with. And then obviously when you were in Arizona too, it's such a great mix of tech experience, knowledge, history, but then you've got the energetic side too. And I love the fact that when you all get together, you all, because you have some schools that thought, where you have the super tech heavy aren't into having sensitives in the mix at all, or anybody with any sort of energetic ability
or whatever.
And you guys form this like perfect team where everyone understands the importance of the other person's, whether it's the tech, what their specific role is within the group. You guys do such a beautiful job of bringing that all together, really maximize those investigations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff in some of y'all's investigations on screen. My God.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to the energy that y'all bring to a location, because it seems like it draws them out more. And obviously, Tony, with your relationship with the spirits, and as much as you talk to them, you're just like one of them. You're just like their representative here on Earth, and that's pretty important.
Yeah, I think it's a necessary dynamic. We need the skeptics. We need the people that rely solely on the instruments and the equipment that we're using. And we also need the folks that are kind of middle of the road. They want both. And then we also need the ones like Chris, who prefer to just use his sensitivity and his abilities to find out what is going on. Chris always loves to go and walk a building before anybody else gets started in it, so that he can kind of get the lay of the land. And he doesn't, as we do the investigation, maybe he has a flashlight. Yeah. But that's about it. I mean, he doesn't really like to carry a whole lot of equipment on him. Yeah. Which is completely fine, because then, we're all working together where, Audra's like, I've got EMF spikes off the charts, and he's like, it's over here. And then she'll go over, and it's just, we kind of work in tandem with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know they're going to give us, it's like 10:45. We're going to have like 10 minutes left, probably. I'm guessing so I want to make sure you guys get a chance to tell us what's coming new, where we can find you, what else is going on. Tony, if you have anything fun and exciting and new, give you guys that last couple minutes to kind of fill us in on what's next for everybody.
Sure. Laura, you want to tell them, or do you want me to tell them, or what do you want to do?
Well, go ahead.
Are you tired of talking?
Hello. Yeah, I talked a lot. I'm talked out. This is a lot of talking for me.
Well, our episodes drop every Saturday mornings. And we have started a new series we call our snack size episodes, where we bring you little, like about 15-minute little stories that are weird but are historically true, to kind of get your week started right and weird. We've done the Whiskey Dublin Fire. We've done the Blue Fugates of Kentucky. Laura covered the RMS Carpathia this last Monday, which was really, really wonderful. Not necessarily a weird story, but given, like she had said, that, with
history alone.
With just the history alone was phenomenal. And then, with everything that's going on in the world right now, she wanted to shine a light on the helpers. So it was perfect episode. So we do that every Monday, and then our episodes come out on every Saturday. We do recaps of the investigations of the locations that we cover. We're going to be doing the second one of Trans-Allegheny in a few weeks, because all the teams are still have so much evidence. We still have yet to go through. So that's coming up. We have got some conventions that we're starting to book that we're going to appear at as vendors in 2023. So we're excited about that. Laura and I are taking our families on all kinds of fun vacations, and I'm going to drag her to the haunted locations instead locations. She's like, I want to, let's go see all these fun museums and stuff. And I'm like, or there's a cemetery not far from me.
I tell her she plans the worst dates.
Yeah. she tells me I plan the worst dates.
No second dates.
It's always overnight.
Yeah. She's like, there's this abandoned building I saw. Ooh, we should go over there. I bet there's bats and some bugs. I'm like,
I'll bring a picnic.
Right. There's probably
bring a
some
snack.
bugs. Yeah.
Bring a snack.
Yeah. There might be some black mold. Right. Yeah. So
our Patreons also get we do like true crime episodes once a month because I know people are super into that, and so we do those for our Patreons, and then we also give them extra evidence that we don't put into our recap episodes, so they get all that extra stuff too. If anybody wants to be a Patreon.
Yeah. If anybody wants to be a Patreon, we would love for you to join us. We send you guys gifts, we send you goodies, we send you Christmas and Halloween gifts we send out, and we have a $2 donor level and a $5 donor level. So it's patreon.com/HOAH podcast. And we're on all the social medias. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the TikTok.
The TikTok.
At HOAH podcast. Yes. Follow us everywhere.
And the episodes are great. I enjoy the hell out of them. I mean,
it's a great show. You guys have done fantastic with it. Now, here there might be a rumor of a book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
wasn't me that opened that can of worms.
There is, and it was Laura's brilliant idea. So I'm going to let her tell you about it because I thought it was genius, and so I took it and ran, and that teaches her to tell me about a good idea.
Right. The idea is basically it's kind of the podcast in book form, but it's more of a coffee table book, so we're gonna put in some pictures, some evidentiary pictures of the places, and tell you the backstory of them, just like we do on the podcast. You're gonna get the history. We're gonna talk about the paranormal, but you're also gonna get some good pictures of what these places look like. So we're excited about it. It'll be fun.
Yeah. And it's all places that we have been to. So yeah, it's like Laura said, we're going to put some, some of the evidence photos that we've captured at some of these locations in there as well. And so yeah, we're excited about things
coming.
Big things coming. That's awesome. Big doings. Yeah.
Right.
If you need pictures of Phelps Dodge, let me know.
I sure will.
Yeah, we'll harass you for sure.
Tony might have
Tony, there is one I have in mind that I would like to include in the book. So
you got it.
I will be contacting you.
You got it.
That's so awesome.
That's us.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got to come on. I mean, that's what's kind of, for me, because I still hit the nerves when I do this. So it's nice to be able to have people on that I know. So then it's not quite as daunting when we first start. But it's like, Bill, if you want to hop back on too, I know we're going to be out of time shortly. If you have questions for anybody, there's our 5-minute update.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just to be able to bring people on that and you get to know and get to support all the cool things that they're doing. Yeah. I mean, I got my very own history of a haunting swag bag last week. I was showing off my book and my little backpack I used earlier this week when I was walking the dog downtown, and my little koozie and all of that.
It's funny too, because I just texted Tony and Cherie yesterday. I was like, hey guys, I need your address because I got all your Talent stuff and your 19 jail stuff that I got to send you.
That was so cool.
You guys have swag bags coming too.
That was
They're awesome. Going to North Carolina was like Christmas. I got all books and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
What's going on with you?
We're not good here at History of a Haunting. We don't slack. We love our listeners. We love our guests.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys, we were talking earlier, and we've all talked about this. The amount of work you guys do just on the history and alone is astounding to me. Like the amount of effort that you put into that. And like Laura was saying, really trying to focus on the humanness of not always having it be like the negative, horrible things that happened to somebody. It could be, like you were talking about the guy that went on to play AAA baseball when he got out of prison. Like you guys really are doing different things and trying to bring more of a positive spin to some of these terrible things that happened in some of these places. And I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah. And Laura's hard work with the history is reflected in our rankings, because globally there are over 2 million podcasts in the world. And globally we rank number 239 for history podcasts.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
That's a direct reflection on Laura and her hard work. She goes on deep dives and she finds stuff that I didn't even know about locations. And that's kind of where she says she sets her bars. Like if she can if she can surprise me, then she knows she's got real history gold. So, and she does it almost every single week. So
that is my goal every time. It's a shocker.
Oh, sorry, Laura.
Oh no, I always that is exactly my bar. Is I always want to bring something that Carrie doesn't know, no matter how much she knows about a location. I want to, get something that she hasn't heard before. Because I know that our audience doesn't know it either. So, making these places that even if you've heard a bunch of stuff on, maybe I'm bringing something new to the table. And that's what, trying to do with the history.
Well, that's the other great part too, that you guys are getting heavily into the investigation on top of it, because you bring that historical background with you. And when you catch something that falls into the realm of paranormal that can be backed up with historical facts about the place, it gives it additional credence to what you've captured. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I know we've got like 2 minutes left. So I just wanted to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight, and loved getting to have Carrie and Laura on to talk about what they've got going on, to get to see the man, the myth, the legend, the Tony Rathman.
Yes.
Pleasure. And I hope everybody has a fantastic week. And girl, if y'all want to hang out until we sign off, and we can catch up after if you want to. But just thank you very much for being with us tonight. And we hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.
All right.